Here.
Commissioner Garber?
Here.
Commissioner Marks?
Here.
Commissioner Fallon?
Here.
Chairman Brewer?
Here. Thank you. I will need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I've got a motion with a second. Any discussion on tonight's agenda?
I have discussion on tonight's agenda. So the closed session, to evaluate the county coordinator, that's something new that just got added when we received this agenda yesterday. And it sounds like we intend to do that evaluation, and there hasn't been any process leading up to this. I mean, we don't have a rubric, we don't have.
It will be a very short discussion, and we're going to cover a few things over the last couple of years. This is by request of being, and so as the employee, I get to request it.
You can request closed session, but we're not prepared to do an evaluation.
That's not how I read it. I read it that we are just going to consider it.
Yes.
It says county coordinator has requested that this evaluation be held in closed session.
Perhaps review of might have been a better word.
Eric crafted it that way. I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't change
I
the.
think it's a formal evaluation,
It's not formal.
although since it is being brought up, of course, it will open things for discussion
That's
within the laws of the closed session, of course.
That's correct.
But I don't think, because you're right, a year ago perhaps, I polled the board and tried to see about whether we were interested in starting a regular evaluation process, and I didn't get much interest. So it never happened.
And typically with an evaluation, you have a rubric ahead of time that everybody's had a chance to review, and you have a job description. You have a job description in front of you, so you know what you're evaluating on. So if that's not what we're doing, that's okay. It just sounds to me like that is what we're doing, and I think that's
Yes,
unclear, because that's what you would go into closed session for.
Perhaps.
If it isn't that, I'm not sure we can be in closed session.
I believe that according to the memo I was sent by our attorney, and I don't see we have much of a choice but to follow our attorney's advice, he did say that a closed session was allowable in this case.
Okay. And you
I
have
know-
that,
I
you
know-
have that in writing?
I do. I have it, well, email, but
Okay,
close
it's
enough.
writing, yeah, okay.
I know we have at other times gotten opinions from attorneys on that, and it's not worked out well. But nonetheless, if we're gonna pay hundreds of dollars an hour for an attorney, we probably, in my opinion, should follow the attorney's advice.
Okay, that's all. If you have something in writing from the attorney, then I'm more comfortable.
Very good. Thank you. Other discussion?
Just one thing, Greg, speaking to the process, I'm on the HR committee for health and wellness, and we had a very lengthy meeting Monday to try to recraft the tool that they use for their CEO evaluation. And the consensus by the CEO and by the board was, it's not a good tool. We've worked very hard to try to make it a better tool. It may be better, but again, the consensus is it's not a good tool. And I know a year ago I said that I didn't feel we were qualified, and what I meant by that is when you have, in that case, 12 separate evaluations basically, who puts that together into something resembling useful information? And I think we have that same problem here.
Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. One is you can assign a number.
That's what they do.
And then give an average, or what we do on school board is we have a session without the superintendent in place, and we have discussion about each item, and we come to a consensus about whether it should be a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. So,
I've been through that one.
yeah, a couple ways to
And
do
I
that.
think, again, I want to cut off discussion because I have my 2 cents to put in. I think that in the future, if the board feels strongly about this, we should look to put together such a tool. My personal opinion is I have never, in my work life and in my where I've sat on elected boards, I've never seen a formal evaluation tool that was worth the paper it was written on. I have found it very inexact, and the best evaluation I've ever seen is an informal one where a group just talks to the employee. Unfortunately, the law does not allow that sort of thing, so that's why you have formal tools, because you're not allowed to, it becomes a problem, and it is the
It
problem.
has to be objective measure.
2 or 3.
I agree.
And some of the vague questions that are answered, you know, about your interpersonal skills and are you a leader and a change agent? I've literally seen these things. But anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. But if the board is interested, we could try to put together such a tool in the future. I broached that subject a year ago, as I said, so let me know if
Well,
so.
I guess we'll just find out when we get into closed session, because it's still unclear to me what we're doing if we're not
Okay.
doing that, but we'll
All
just move forward then.
So, all in favor of approving today's agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that passes unanimously. At this time, we have our call to the public for any public comment. This will be, because it's a special session, our one and only opportunity for public comment. Anyone? No one is coming forward. So, we now have our agenda items. Would someone like to make a
Mr. Chair,
motion?
I'll do it. I'll make a motion that we approve the bid from RBF Construction for the Veteran Center remodel project in an amount not to exceed $699,000 even.
Support. I have a motion with support. It's time for our discussion.
Yes, and at this time, I want to introduce Jeff Brands, who has been the architect on this project, as well as our major here, who is working through the finer points with the Veterans Committee. One of the reasons we're having this special meeting now, the bids did come in, and we have 2 bids that were returned to us. Jeff did the bid process. They are wildly different. One is for about $700,000, the other one is for about $1 million. Those are very different numbers. The major change in this project is that it doesn't include repairs to the roof, which we had not, and replacement of the roof, which we had not considered in the previous discussions that we had been having early on. And the reason I did not want to wait for this until our next cycle of meetings, we have a $100,000 grant that we can pull down from the state through the veterans, and it's reimbursable, but it expires September 30th. So by executing the contract now, getting our first invoice, we'll be able to turn that in, get that money sent back to us for this project. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike and Jeff, if they'd like to come on up and talk about the project.
If I may make a pick you correction, I think it was 89,000.
89,000.
I think it's nice. What is it, Mike?
It's right around 90, it's like
Oh.
$89,873.
Well, I want to point out that while I was wrong, I was more correct than Dr. Wallace.
Yeah. Duly noted.
It's around 100.
Oh, I nice on a poster board.
I know. I tried today, but.
Okay.
I just give him a hard time. He mentioned that.
I tell you what, it's hard to make
Thank you.
brick building like that look nice, but I guess.
you.
Watch out.
Yep. Okay.
It's going to be fabulous.
Yeah, yeah.
So RBF, we worked with for probably 15 years. They're very good. They've got a lot of projects going, and like I said before, that they were so busy that they didn't even want to put it in bid, but I talked them into it. And now, one of their projects that they put ahead of this one is now on hold. So they're ready to go. So we could,
So we can get right at this.
so we can get going right at it. Is, like I was telling Dr. Boggs, I wanted to have a real professional print on a poster board, but
We're fine here. We can all see it.
we'll have that for the groundbreaking in that. But this is a shot of the exterior. For right now, it was up to me. I usually don't choose colors, but I chose a light gray for the paint on the existing block and brick, and then a darker gray for the metal on there. Wanted to make it distinctive so everybody knew where it was. It didn't blend in with the other part of the building.
How durable is paint on block?
It depends on the application. We'll have to,
I mean, are you thinking 5 years, 10 years before we need to touch up? 2 years?
I would say 5 to 7,
Okay.
yeah, so,
And just a question, I don't remember, is that block painted now or just block?
I,
I think it's just block.
yeah,
Just block,
it's just block.
okay, application for that will last a lot better, you're not painting over a
Yeah,
paint
painting
that's
over
10
paint.
years old or
Yeah.
something, yeah, okay.
Exactly, exactly, and, we have, on the site, there'll be, 3 light poles, and we're going to use some of the, older, looking light poles with the acorn, globes on them, kind of fit in, so, right now, there's no, I think there's maybe a floodlight or something out there, but this will be on all the time, it'll be lit up pretty well.
Did we have more parking spots, I just,
Yes,
if that's okay, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if 5 would be enough.
yeah, we have, I think 5 here, and I added a few more over, to the, east, probably 5 or 6. I think there's might be 7 over there. I was thinking for the employees, they can go in that way, and then you've got that lot right across, that you'll have some more additional parking.
Public entrance will be towards the front, because there's gonna be a reception area there from one of the old, rooms that'll be opened up, as a reception spot. Employees will have around the back, when you can come in.
Will there be a key card access at this door?
All the doors will have key card access.
Yep. So, and then the second page is basically a 3D rendering of the floor plan. So we're looking at doing, you know, the engineered vinyl flooring and all the traffic areas, and then the boardroom and the offices will have blue carpet in there for sound deadening. We need something to absorb the sound or it's just gonna echo.
And the ceiling?
Ceiling will be drywall, and we'll have surface mounted lights on that, so.
It'll be drywall.
Yeah, we're gonna use what's called metal hat channels, they're about maybe an inch.
Cause that ceiling's already kinda low.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep it as high as we can, that way we can hide the wiring in that area, and there'll be surface mounted fixtures for lights in that area.
Square footage of what we have proposed, just a general number, do you know?
I'd have to look at my site plan.
Okay.
So,
I'm just, you know,
yeah.
The door that is currently leads into this, is that gonna be closed off?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
we're gonna take that out and put a window in there.
Oh,
Yep, so there'll be some light coming in from there.
and I see a little, I don't know what that is. Up here in the, next to the conference room.
Oh, that's, this area is the boiler room. This is,
Oh, there's some
yeah,
utilities and so on.
yeah, this
Okay.
is where the electrical is.
Oh, very good. Dr. Boggs, this conference room, we're still sharing that with the, what's the name?
Corrections.
Zoo?
MDOC.
MDOC, thank you, MDOC.
Yeah, that would still be shared unless, they have other space that they're gonna use.
I don't get the idea they use it a lot, but,
Well, you know, when we've been hosting our meetings in there, there hasn't been a lot of activity in there in a long time.
okay. We'll just have to make sure that the veterans, when they have the record meetings, never show up and find out that room is full.
Yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah. Okay,
They have to come up with some kind of booking system or, you know, how they wanna reserve space.
and the door that's now at the back that has an alarm on it that leads out to the back parking lot, will that be an emergency exit only, or will that be a usable door?
Reusable for
Gonna be
employees.
my ex.
Usable door with a key card?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably where we would encourage the employees to park and come in that way.
That's a good idea. So we need to add that to the plowing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Perhaps,
and if
perhaps
I take
clean
it-
that area up a little bit so it looks nicer.
In the office areas, the brown part,
Yeah.
towards the walls, that's closet or bookcase. For heating units or?
I think that's the desk area. So
Okay.
that's the back, yeah, the desk, and you have one behind you, little table.
This is really nice.
One of the key elements of redesigning this space was to make sure that it does not look as institutional as it did before. Because it was extremely institutional looking with all the cinder block walls, the low ceilings, the hospital style bed lighting that was in the hallway. And so we want to try to avoid that feel.
And each individual room, we're going to have what's called a mini split in each room. So they will be able to control the heating and the air conditioning individually through there. Because I know, like in my house, I'm always cold. My wife's always hot. So these will be, they can set it to their own personal.
Am I remembering correctly, this is all gonna be electric heat?
You're gonna have heat pumps. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, heat pumps, okay.
And will each room also be controllable with the air conditioning in the summer that way?
Yep.
Okay.
They'll have it, they'll have their own control and go that way, because being, it's concrete block and concrete roof,
Hmm?
there's no place to run any ductwork.
Right.
So we were kind of challenged at that, so this was the simplest solution for that. Because right now it just has radiant heat, but there's no cooling. So,
A little warm in there right now, this summer.
yeah, but I
Oh.
bet.
Oh.
And of course, all the windows.
Yep, we're gonna replace all the windows to more energy efficient. So I couldn't tell you how old those things are. They probably don't work very well either. And the doors down through there, we're going to leave the frames and replace the door slabs themselves. Instead of being a hollow metal door, it'll be a solid wood door.
There's up here, in the reception area, there's a bathroom there, that's a unisex bathroom, correct?
Yes.
And the shower's coming out. Showers are coming out in all the bathrooms, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there was some discussion way back when about that.
Yeah, all out
Okay.
for a lot of reasons.
Any asbestos removal as part of this project?
We'll find out.
There are a couple of older vents and stuff that are at the front of the building that are,
If we don't touch it, we won't have to, but,
Could be suspect.
yeah.
One of my first questions when we first went over it.
I haven't, actually been through this process before with a larger building project. So this number in front of us, is that a definite or is that a best guess?
As per the plans, it's, pretty accurate. Now, with remodeling, there's always these unforeseen things that we will run into. So I'm not gonna tell you there's not gonna be extras.
So there isn't a contingency built into this number for such things? Or there kind of is, or?
There could be, which is why I didn't wanna go with a whole million. We could go with $1 million and be financially okay with that. However, that's getting more out of the pooled money that we got, that it would have to come out. And I didn't wanna start at the highest and go, oh, we need more.
We can run into a lot of bad stuff for $300,000.
Oh, absolutely, and I also, I guess I'll just speak truth here, I don't know the contractors from Adam, so I don't want them to come back and, oh, we need this, oh, we need that, and now it's just a nickel and dime on the Veterans Department and the county, and now we're in it for 1.2, 1.3, and we're stuck. At some point, we're gonna have to say, hey, this is your cap, this is where it is. Personally, I think $1 million is probably the cap, because then that would take care of any issues with the roof, anything with the HVAC, which we don't still know, I don't think we do. We're Whereas if we need to go up to that, hey, that's fine. But for right now, for this particular bid, 700's the mark on the wall. That includes everything that the other contractor, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, had. It's just why the disparity of 300. They obviously couldn't come up with a good answer, so.
I think it was actually 400, was it 1.1?
Yeah, just about.
Okay.
Yeah, so 400,000.
I would just recommend it, if that's the bid, and that's the bid, and there's something comes up, there's always a change order. And certainly we can negotiate, and sometimes there's give backs because they didn't have to do something.
Yep.
So I would just recommend, even though we know that, gosh, if they found something and like maybe it's asbestos, or found something in the floor or whatever, you know, you might have to have some more money, but we can handle that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just assumed that we handled it if it came up.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll manage it as best we can. You know, they'll always come to me first, and then, we'll talk about it, and then I'll, forward on things. The biggest place I think that may run into an extra here and there is the site work. Because you never know
What's underneath?
what's there. It could be bad soil, we may have to bring in some engineered fill, so the parking lot doesn't fall apart, so that's the biggest thing I can see, maybe an extra here or there.
Dr. Boggs, did you want to speak to the financial splits on this?
Yeah, so the first 85,000, as you put it, will be coming from the grant,
89,830.
which leaves, about $600,000 more or less. First 300 will come from the ARPA funds that we've designated for this, and the rest will come from the veterans.
I have a question about the roof portion. You're gonna re-roof the whole building, I assume?
Actually, that came up, Marlene. This is only to re-roof that section.
Okay.
But I have requested, again, as long as we still have, depending on what happens across the street, some ARPA money left, and we do seem determined to spend it on county needs, that the entire roof be looked at, and then this group make a decision on whether we want to do that. I
Makes sense.
personally think that if there's anything questionable about the roof, let's take advantage of the fact that this project's doing some of it, and let's just do the whole thing.
And for repair, it's probably gonna be resealed, if I'm not speaking out of context, just because it's a slab roof. No way that I know of it where those slabs are gonna be removed, new ones put on, it'll be.
No.
Yeah. So some type of resurfacing will be done, depending upon the structure integrity. I know there was a leak in the IT room, I think it's room 12 over there now. Whether that's been addressed, I don't know. I have not gotten with MDOT for that, so.
Yeah, we'll have to do a field inspection.
That's a good determination. So, again, that's something that can just be looked at in the following maybe couple of weeks.
But right now, the price was just for
Right,
Right.
just that
this,
wing,
this building,
Yep.
not the entire.
just the one, the cell of the wide wing.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to get started on this now that there's a gap in their programming.
Yeah, but if they're ready, they're pretty much ready to go,
That'd be great.
so
Do we have a breakdown of the RBF quote like we do the others?
I can get that
Okay.
for you.
And then the plans too, it says it's a turnkey quote based off the plans below. Can we get those as well if we don't have them?
Yep, I can leave, I
Okay.
got an extra set here, I'll just leave that.
I have a full set of plans up in my office as well.
Okay.
If anyone should need those, and they can't get a hold of Jeff, let me know.
Okay.
I'll get those to you as well.
You'll probably have some nosy commissioners, speaking for myself, who watch come through and keep seeing the progress as we go along.
Oh, it's always nice to go in, walk through it prior to, and then, make those site visits.
Yeah, if they get started, and just for the building, I'm not gonna talk about the outside, because sometimes that can be delayed. But, idea about construction time? Is it a 2-month deal?
120 days.
120 days?
Yep, weather permitting.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
then the groundbreaking will be on the 29th of September,
And Thursday,
Thursday.
1 p.m.
I think it's one.
It's 1:30?
1 to 4, I believe.
Wonderful.
29.
Don't eat lunch.
Oh, okay.
Hope I can make it.
1 p.m.
So the problem, I'm guessing though, while they're doing some work inside, they'll be working on the site, so they can at least get a base coat of asphalt down before November.
We're also improving the road out too. I think I knew that,
Yeah.
but we'll bring it up.
That's why I wanted to see the plans, how much of the parking lot is getting redone, and then hopefully we'll have a completely redone surface from the road back to the drain office.
Not in this project, I don't think.
Are you guys going all the way from the road to the building? No. Not this.
So another thing to look at,
Another thing to look at.
Yeah.
see if we can afford it. Or if it's a priority. Other discussion, other questions, anything? Hearing none, I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes?
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Plowman,
Yes,
Commissioner Webster,
Yes.
and Chairman Broder.
Yes. We have unanimous approval and,
thank you
Sure.
for all your work.
get started.
Now if I'm,
Yeah, dude,
this was the easy part.
you still got light today.
Yes, we're driving by after the meeting, we expect to see
Why are you
construction.
here?
Yeah.
All right, I think at this time, I will need a motion to go into the closed session portion of our meeting.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Support.
I have a motion with support discussion and going into the closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I regret it, but I have to leave. I wasn't